Okay, welcome back, everyone. Let's play some more Legacy, and this is one other Psychic Frog deck. This is going to be Dimir Midrange, a deck that I predicted would do well in the new metagame. Um, that's nothing special at all. It's mainly just referencing that this is also one of the decks that I played against Bosch and Roll when we were trying to predict the future a few months ago. Worth noting about this deck is that we are keeping the Mishra's Bauble and Nihil Spellbomb split because of the let's just call it persistence of Blue-Black Reanimator. We can't go 4 baubles here. Well, we could, but, you know, I don't want to give up those percentages against the best deck. We want those artifacts in the first place because of Nethergoyf. I also play 3 copies of Tamios to have as many 1-drops as possible, or as, you know, as I can defend at least. Psychic Frog is amazing. Couple of Masters, couple of Murktides, a Brazen Borrower to round out the thread base. Normal cantripping stuff for Wastelands, Days, Force of Will, Fatal Push. 5th copy of Fatal Push basically here with Shoot the Sheriff. Can also kill Regents. That would be quite cool. When it comes to the sideboard, I'm addressing, you know, colorless, a little bit of insurance against the usual suspects like Married Lage, Murktide Regent, all of that jazz. Some negations against Unfair Harbinger to punish unreasonable mana bases. A couple of Toxic Deluges, mainly because of the Nadu deck catching a lot of steam. Another couple of Shoot the Sheriff, Bowmasters to round out the playset, and then a couple of Grafdigger's Cage, which is my graveyard hate of choice that also crosses over to the new Nadu deck when it comes to, you know, Port of Calling, Greensun Zenith. So let's see if this deck does any good. I am considering a Hydroblast. I'm considering cutting a Bowmaster for something else. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the list. Let's see if we can get into some interesting spots and learn something today. Round 1 here. I'm playing Dimir Midrange. I'm on the draw with a solid hand. There's definitely going to be some conflict about whether I should develop a creature turn 1 or cast my cantrip. Let's see if we can learn anything more about that. Okay, my opponent goes turn 1 Tamiyo off of a basic island. Pretty cool. Okay, I draw another land, but it's not quite the land I want it to be. I think I try and get a little bit of pressure on here. Maybe this... Did I mess this up? Yeah, I think I was supposed to just play my swamp there. I don't think this has any upside. This gets my opponent to think a little bit about Days, but exposing it to Wasteland is not something I can recommend here. Just play the swamp. The next turn you can fetch and go Psychic Frog. You might even go get the basic while you're at it, so... Definitely interesting. The Tamiyo gets in there, makes a ton of sense. I would hate to be in a position where I'm supposed to Force Will a Brainstorm. I don't think that's correct. Okay, so we're playing against Sultai Beanstalk. Now I am gonna force. Wonder what I'm pitching. I'm going Frog next turn. Maybe I don't want to mess up my graveyard without the Beanstalk. Sorry, with the Nethergoyf in the mix here. This is quite huge. Okay, I get forced. That is acceptable compared to getting dazed here. I must say I'm considering... No, I should play the Psychic Frog out here. Maybe go Swamp. I play Frog first combat, because if it gets countered, have another type in my yard, all of that jazz. Well, let's see. I'm actually not sure how much Frog removal that deck plays, but assume... Okay, so the opponent drew a Brainstorm, thought better of it. Nope, they drew a Ponder. Never mind. So, my opponent can actually do a cool play here, and if they attack with Tamiyo, I have to make a tough decision. Yeah, they should do that for sure. If they have the next land, playing land and attacking with Tamiyo is just great play. Okay, so tap land here. Let's see if we... Oh, it's... Okay, so it's not just Sultai Beanstalk. It is white removal, but the opponent does not have white, which is a big problem for them. What can we do about that? I can cast a Ponder before attacking, put a sorcery in my graveyard. That is a good play. So let's start by doing that. I like these cards. I mean, I should, right? Let's draw this Bowmaster. Quite strong. So let's see. I think I play out my... Trying to think about what I do if my opponent blocks the frog here. So let's attack with both. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep Wasteland Bowmaster. Here I'm basically saying, I don't believe you're playing the card Fatal Push. I do believe you could be playing a copy of Murderous Cut, but that's not the case. Trying to think about what to do with that Wasteland. Let's see, what did the opponent do with the Ponder? They kept the cards from Ponder. Wonder why that could be. Right now I have Murktide Regent on my calendar, not gonna lie. I'm actually gonna Wasteland that one. What would make my opponent keep that Ponder? Downside to this is I'm delaying my Bowmasters. I think that's okay. If my opponent manages to find a swords for the frog, I get to keep attacking and deploy a Bowmaster. But it's tricky, I'll say that. The mana base of my opponent is definitely not helping them here. I kind of need to kill the frog here. I think if I get one more hit in, I'm off to the races, but let's see. Here's Tropical. Still no white mana. And no play. So maybe I get to Bowmaster my opponent's Bowmaster here. That would be ideal. Looks like... Okay. My opponent plays Bowmaster here, which is fine. Let's see what I can do about that. Draw Tamiyo. Okay. Let's play this Bowmaster out. See if we can avoid getting countered. We did not avoid getting countered. I should give this flying. Land, instant sounds fine. So now my opponent can block the Nethergoyf, and let's see how this works. Probably not how I want it to work. Looks like I just drew the... Oh yeah, I didn't shuffle. Got it. So... Oh yeah, did I mess up here? Because I knew I had a daze on top? Okay, am I supposed to... Yeah. Okay. So I threw big percentages this game. So what a good player would have done is know that I've stacked the days, then first of all do it the other opposite direction, draw the days, then I have days backup for the Bowmasters. I daze my opponent's Force of Will, kill the Bowmaster. Yeah. The next best thing is I draw into it now, then cast the Bowmaster and kind of accept that my opponent has a small creature. Okay. At the time, very tough to foresee, but not impossible, and definitely something to work on. Here's up the beanstalk. My opponent cracks a clue. It's fine. So now I think I'm back to the plan, which is basically hold the fort and attack with Flying Frog twice. Pretty sure that's how you play Magic the Gathering. So flying, leave the creature, I guess. Maybe that was incorrect. I'm not playing my best here. Okay, let's try and attack for 4. Should I discard the Tamiyo as well? Will that change anything? I'll try discard. Yo, maybe that's bad. Maybe I'll just play Tamio. Tough game. I wasn't ready for this. Bowmasters. I get pinged for 1. My opponent grows that guy. Totally fine. Next turn, I have to fly in for 5 to win the game. My opponent has a ton of mana. It's incredibly unlikely that the Daze is going to do anything. Let's see what the opponent can do with those 3 cards. Here's Plains. Probably a very bad news for me. I'm sad I didn't play well this game, but at least I caught it, so there's some learnings to do to be done here. For definitely for me as well. Here's Swords to Plowshares. That works. But why didn't I attack with Nethergoyf last turn? What was the logic? When Psychic Frog was a flyer anyway. Here's another Psychic Frog, speaking of that. So maybe I go Psychic Frog. Attack with Nethergoyf. That was incredibly bad. Really, really bad. Okay, I mean, here I think I'm ready to put my opponent at... Okay, my opponent chum blocks. That is just fine. I was about to say I'm willing to discard the instant to Psychic Frog if bad things happen. Let's see if I've done it. It looks like if I attack with Tamio and crack the clue, I have lethal in the air because I can get to 4 cards. Okay, never mind. Am I supposed to cast this Daze? Is it ever going to do anything? I'd actually see casting this Daze, just getting it in the yard to have a bigger Nethergoyf could be worth it. Kind of banking on my opponent's last card being bad here. There's some upside if it's a 3-drop, right? Let's see, no Murktide, which gives me a chance. Now, I'm not gonna sack those clues as long as Bowmaster stays in play. Wow, what a terrible draw. But I am gonna attack because I like having it around. Let's see if my opponent... I don't think the opponent can block here. The opponent should take it, yeah. The opponent takes the damage, goes to 2, and sadly, I don't have any follow-up. I think I gave my opponent an additional turn by not attacking with the Nethergoyf even. Somehow lost track of that my opponent would just get another one anyway, but it would... Yeah, so bad. Okay, so I actually did delay that Uro. The opponent goes up to 5. I'm not going to crack the clue token because it's going to give my opponent another 1-1. I think how I win this game is drawing a Force of Will right now. Let's see. Another Nethergoyf. Okay. Didn't play this perfectly. It looks like my opponent is taking it all down here. Oh, here's Leyland Binding. Okay. That was a cool game. I'm playing against that deck. Definitely want all the Bowmasters I can get my hands on, and the Harbingers. Kind of like that. Maybe Brazen Borrower isn't very good. A couple of Annihil Spell Bombs might not be terrible. I like all the removal. Maybe Shoot the Sheriff is a bit too much. I can cut Brazen. Maybe I can cut a single copy of Daze pretty easily. Maybe I can cut Annihil Spellbomb. I think this is okay. So we have our normal plan of Goyfs, Frogs, Murktides, but it's backed up by the odd Harbinger that could, could steal a game here and there. 3 Wasteland. It's interesting, but I'm gonna pass. 6 lands and a Bowmaster. Okay, so if I put back a land, I hope these wastelands are good. Tough times. Let's get rid of the Flooded Strand. I can surveil turn 1, and then I kind of have to think about what to do. Whether I go Bowmasters or start attacking the opponent's mana. Now it's time to attack the mana base. Let's see. Undercity Sewers. Force of Will, terrible card. Let's get it out of here. Fatal Push is not bad. I'll wasteland my opponent on the upkeep. This is cool because these two lands represent, oh, you're going to get wasted. But if my opponent goes for Desperation Brainstorm, I'm going to try and Bowmaster, so. That did not happen. The opponent played well. They Bowmaster now? Okay. Oh, well, sorry. If they Brainstorm now, that would have been awesome. Fetch land pass. So there is a chance my opponent actually wanted me to waste there, which is always annoying, but happens sometimes. Let's see. Tamiyo. Tamiyo's not bad. So if I go Tamiyo, I play a little bit better around days because next turn I can Bowmaster with my 3rd mana. This turn I can Surveil, so I do some decent things, but I don't use my mana as well as I could have, but I have good reasons to not, so it's fine. What I also could have done there was develop the Wasteland and basically prohibit my opponent from going for a duel here or a Surveil. Very hard play to make. I think I value having the Wasteland as a hidden piece of disruption. Okay, here's Wasteland and Beanstalk. Okay, so my opponent's mana is actually under pressure here. Don't have anything to punish that with, unfortunately. So now... oh, I don't only play one. Okay, well... Only play one. I guess I just played my Reanimator deck where I have 2, so I've gotten used to the play pattern. Okay, that happens. So now I think this is the better way to play around days. So let's Orcish Bowmaster. If my opponent has a force, it's annoying. My opponent does not have a force. This is very good for me. Looks like no force, or at least, just, white mana, kill it, etc. In the meantime, I'm starting to attack with my Tamiyo, trying to get to a favorable point in the game. This looks like a Bowmaster of their own. I don't know how many Underground Seas they're running, though. Okay, that kind of explains that. So that card trades off with my card. Pretty decent. What do I draw here? I actually draw that card. So I think my opponent could have had Force of Will last turn, but I think this is my way to try and win this game, to check if my opponent has the Force of Will. I can't really beat it if they do. Okay, well, I gave myself a good chance here. Let's stack up some more clues and hold the fort with the 1/1. So the only thing you could consider there is saying, okay, the opponent had the force and they just wanted, the Bowmasters to deal with your Bowmasters. That's just better. And then I start baiting with, fatal pushing the Bowmaster or whatever. But it's a tough call to make. For sure. I draw another Harbinger. I mean, the opponent has basic planes in play now, so that card could be irrelevant. Also, the opponent is going to draw a gazillion cards with Tamiyos, and I don't have pressure, so some small stuff definitely snowballed in this game. This is just a good proof in case you needed it to, play well instead of not play well. The opponent holds up mana here. I have no idea what that means. Psychic Frog is a cool draw. Okay, maybe it's time to attack. I don't know. Let's see if we can do something good here. My opponent should kind of smell the Bowmaster or the Fatal Push here, but not sure. Okay. So that trade I'm happy with. And I'm going to play a Frog. I don't have high hopes for this Harbinger, I must say. The basic Plains is a brutal card to have in play. Here's a Terminus. Okay. Opponent is willing to Terminus away the board here. Makes a lot of sense. They've now unlocked their own mana base. They're ahead on cards. This is not a game I'm winning. Lots of stuff there with the Wastelands, with the Tamiyo that I drew, with the Bowmasters that I was trying to... The point is, I played Bowmasters at a time where I wasn't really punishing much, and maybe that was too unambitious. It's very possible that that was simply just not strong enough into a deck with... Oh, I'll have to... Another Beanstalk. Okay, maybe a Fatal Push now. Opponent now has 2 Beanstalks in play. Bowmaster? That's not a Bowmaster, but it could... This clue could turn into it. Let's see. Not a Bowmaster. I guess I go... Tamiyo, another Goif. And once again, I'm in a position where I cannot really beat much, but I can at least give myself the chance. It was quite interesting when I played against this deck the last time. It actually had days in it, which I'm not sure is standard, or... I mean, it could easily be my research, right? That wasn't good. Let's see. Terminus on top and plowing on me here. Oh, plow on top. Interesting. My opponent does not want to take a hit. They want to get rid of the Tamiyo. Oh, what is this? Terminus? Prismatic Ending. Okay. Yeah, that's a cool trick. You can pay however much mana you want. Oh, and plow on top of the deck. Okay. That's just going to be good games from me here. That's too much. All right. We get destroyed by 4-color control, and let's see if we can play better, because I really didn't feel like I gave myself the best chance in either of the games. So yeah, let's play a little better in the next one. Okay, next match. Let's see if we can do a little bit better. I'm on the draw here with a fine hand. I mean, I play Tamiyo turn 1. If that does not eat a removal, I'm happy. If it does, higher chance Psychic Frog lives. Opponent's on a multi 5 here, so now I would have been very happy with a Daze or a Force in hand, just based on the multi 5. Like, the first mulligan can be whatever. The second mulligan, it's more likely to be some unfair shenanigans going on. Let's see. Okay, so we just lose turn 1. That's fair. I don't think that's... Oh, my opponent is clearing... Wow, this is cool. If the opponent's last remaining cards are exactly Entomb Reanimate, that's actually amazing. Small pause here before letting the Therapy resolve. This is basically to make my opponent, name Force of Will. It's obviously not going to do anything here. It's just good practice in general, so... Let's see what the last 2 cards are. It was, in fact, Entomb Reanimate. Amazing. So that is why that kind of strategy was, a bane at some point, where, you can always lose to this. You don't know what you're playing against, you can always lose. So I think I'm just going to call it a day here. I don't think my opponent is going to teach me anything more about their deck. Okay, so super fast Reanimator. I mean, that should be fine to play against, but, can always just beat you and nothing matters, so. Easy cuts are the pushes and the Sheriff for the hate, Then comes the question of, is my opponent gonna, do some tricky stuff? And I think I'm supposed to hedge for that with a couple of Braisons and a couple of Shoot the Sheriff. I think that's fine. Like, can kill a troll, can kill, I don't know, Sheldred or something, so let's try that. Maybe it can't even kill a Sheldred. Maybe Sheldred's like a Praetor, I don't know. But yeah, very, very fast matchup, and it's kind of the random factor. My opponent can never beat a Force of Will, and I don't know that I have to I don't know that I have to mulligan for it, so you just hope that that lines up in your favor. With that being said, there's actually a few things I could do here. I'm actually gonna add a single consign instead of a Wasteland. I don't think Wasteland is very strong. Wasteland does cast a few of my cards, so I mean, it's decent to have in the deck. Maybe I should actually add 2 consigns. Because what you can do is you can counter Animate Dead, and you can counter, like, Atraxa triggers, and then maybe, like, kill it? I don't know. And it's just blue for my 6 forces, so I'm actually happy I thought about that. Wasteland is not often a very, very, interesting card. So, funnily enough, this is the context where this hand has to get sent back. No interaction. Turn 1 Tameo, turn 2 Frog is amazing, but if we're gonna be, shuffling up for the game that's not coming, yep, not very strong. So funnily enough here, I think I'm going to get rid of the island to play Nethergoyf and have double force and kind of play on from there. The alternative is to put away Nethergoyf. Maybe that's better because it's killing the opponent so slowly. Okay, I talked myself into getting rid of the Nethergoyf because having 2 mana in play is valuable. So let's see, double force should be enough to not lose, but that will reset me entirely, so let's see how all in the opponent is. Stuff like Unmask, Thoughtseize, all of that jazz is super annoying. Here's Dark Ritual. Here's Entomb, and I'm gonna counter the Entomb here. I'm gonna pitch the Murktide Regent. Let's see if my opponent has 2 shots in the chamber. They didn't, so that's kind of ideal for me. So do I keep this fetch to... Nah, I think I want to look 2 cards deep for Frog right away. So that was kind of cool. I got to eat a couple of cards. Really love the Cage here. Obviously going to keep it. Play land, play Grafdigger's Cage. And now my opponent has to hard cast or have boarded in stuff like Show and Tell to beat me, which is unfortunately all very, very realistic stuff to happen. Let's see. I'm basically just hoping my opponent has a ton of reanimation in hand, and I buy myself a lot of turns, and I can win with a Frog at some point. Unmask, I'm gonna let resolve. There's a case for Brainstorm, but I think this is okay. Opponent clears the Force, which is... I don't know. There's something about Orcish Bowmasters here that it is both my opponent's way to win and also somewhat realistic. My opponent took the Force. I don't think I can sit back. I'm gonna look here, but it's super tough if my opponent has it. Okay. I'm actually gonna get rid of... Let's see. Yeah, let's get rid of Bauble and Wasteland. I don't really believe in Wasteland here. Of course, I realize I could lose to weird stuff like, I don't know, Barrogoyf or something out of the sideboard, but I'm not big on that. Let's see. Land drop before Faithless Looting tells me what? Tells me the opponent did not want to get that card pierced. There's a Tendrils of Agony, which is hilarious. So my opponent is on the... Can't remember what it's called. Tin Fins, that's the one. Okay, so I'm drawing Bauble. So I might as well draw Freshie, unless I care about... I guess I should get this because of Magus, unless I care about, Nethergoyf's size moving forward. I feel like this wasteland is brainstorm fodder and not disruption. Okay, this is not bad. So now I go those two back. Cast Ponder to shuffle my deck. Most likely, unless there's the perfect card here. Shuffle. Brazen is not bad. Play a 3/4, which is something in this day and age. Right now, if my cage gets killed, my opponent's reanimation spells are good, but that's a couple of... It's down the line, let me put it that way. So maybe... I mean, my best guess here is Sheldred? That's scary. Sheldred the Apocalypse. Is that a card I'm supposed to bounce here? I think I might as well. Sheldred. Funnily enough, nah, I was too far off. I was just about to say a Wasteland would have been relevant here, but I mean, sure, then they pay with the pedal and cast it, then I bounce it and maybe can buy some time. This is... I'm actually gonna bounce this Sheldred here. I think I might as well. Let's see what I can draw. Another Nethergoyf, which doesn't help me. Unless... Yeah, I need to grow it 2 more times. So this is where the Bauble comes into play, so I need Bauble and Creature. Yeah, I'm losing. I'm getting soloed by Sheldred here. Slowly, though, and I have a couple of Shoot the Sheriff in my deck, so... It's not hopeless. Well, nice draw. Very nice draw. So, kill that, attack for 6. Okay, that was super lucky. So, part of my sideboard plan was hedging for bullshit cards like Sheldred and, you know, Troll. I think I've played against this opponent before. I actually think my opponent is a good sport. So let's see. I cut 2 Wastelands. They're just bad on average. But my opponent knows about the cages. I know about the Sheldred. What does that do? It probably does something where I'm more likely to want this Fatal Push. Let's see. What does Wasteland actually accomplish against Reanimator? It casts, you know, these colorless cards. And that's more or less about it. Am I really willing to go 100% big boy here, cut all the Wastelands, and add pushes to not die to random crap? So complicated. Also, now that my opponent knows about the cage, they're more likely to have show and tell plan, all of that jazz. It's a tough one. Sand is obviously a keep. Trying to think about creative things to do with the consign aside from Animate Dead and Atraxa. Unclear. Basic Swamp. Opponent respects the Wasteland. Thoughtseize resolves. This will clear the Force of Will, and then it's kind of up to me to come up with another one in my top 4. 5, I guess. Draw Step, Bauble, Brainstorm. There's a Psychic Frog. Not super big on that card right now. Let's look at our own deck here. Clear any non-disruption. I found a Force of Will, so we're still gaming. And now my plan becomes Psychic Frog, counter the opponent's Entomb and Faithless looting. Hope to be off to the races. Should I Brainstorm here end of turn? I think so. I think I should Sculpt a little bit to get rid of the worst card in my hand. And that is definitely not Nile Spellbomb. Wow. That's super sick. So maybe a land is my worst card. How does that sound? Crazy? It's easier for me to just hit a random land in the future. Wonder which land I'm fetching. Also have to think a little bit about like something like Magus of the Moon, which is something that deck has played in the past. Having Consignus Force Fodder is kind of cool. The opponent brought in removal. It's nice to have his second frog. So I think... which land do I want access to? I think it's Swamp. Swamp, I can actually play Nethergoyfs. That's why I do it like this. Okay. So, draw. With that being said, Nile Spellbomb is just probably worth the wait. Okay, yeah. I'll play Nile Spellbomb here as an extra layer of protection. And then... yeah, I could just draw the land next turn. It's not that bad. Maybe it's better for me to go Undercity Sewers looking for stuff. I think I'll just draw the land. It's very close. I'm not going to fault anyone for playing this differently. So let's see. Island here. Psychic Frog. Have a Spell Bomb. Let's see if the opponent brought in removal. It could be. No removal. Opponent goes to cleanup here, looking to discard a creature, which is kind of, you know, build your own entomb type situation. I'm going to keep playing around the Magus. There's Archon into the yard. Draw. Yeah, pretty cool. Let's get the hit in first. Then I can, I guess, just second frog here with a Nile Spellbomb and Force of Will and Ace. Pretty strong. Yeah, once you get into these kinds of games, it could look like it's super easy, but the thing is, it's not easy to get out of, you know, it's not easy at all to get out of those situations. So I think what I'm supposed to do here is crack Spellbomb, exile the yard, draw a card. Is that it? I think so, yeah. Because we don't know about if the opponent has a show and tell plan. So counters are better than spell bombs when it comes to that. So let's see. Yep, basic swamp. Exile the graveyard in response. Because the opponent is a shallow grave deck. So let's see here. Let's exile the yard. Let's, yeah, I mean, now we get to hit with double frog. I just drew Nethergoyf. I've been lucky after I kept the land. I kept drawing spells, which is awesome. I have to think about the clock here. Maybe a card. Nah, it's too early, maybe. Tough to say. Let's see. I put my opponent to 14. Can I make it so that it's a 2-turn clock without, you know, me throwing here? I don't know. Let's just draw 2 cards here and see what happens. I have cages in my deck. I have one more spell bomb. Let's see what we can do. Let's cast Ponder. These cards are, you know, good magic cards, but they don't, you know, help me from not dying. Also, funnily enough, I might, if I don't hit anything here, I might lose this game. So let's see about that. Student doesn't do anything. Holding up push doesn't do anything. Let's see what's on top of the opponent's deck. Thoughtseize. Could be strong. Could be strong. Yeah, pass. This is tough. Draw. I only have a Force of Will, and that can get Thoughtseized, so Pretty exciting. Here's another land. Ah, so the opponent deliberately did not play land to get to um um did not play land to get to natural cleanup. So I actually think I have to force the will this ritual because I want my opponent to not have enough mana for that Thoughtseize. So let's force a will the ritual because we know about the Thoughtseize, basically. I don't know why the opponent is so salty about a normal game of Magic. Okay, well, I think that aside, let's try and focus on what we can actually control, which is definitely not the mood of our opponent. So this game was actually quite scary. If my opponent has a decent hand here, I'm just losing the game because I didn't. Even though it drew 1 card, 2 cards, spellbombed the opponent. Yeah, I mean, I had so good tools, but I was so close to losing this game. I actually, yeah, that's sick. Like, these cards didn't do anything if my opponent tries to win here. I only tried to isolate the draws that has to go, Faithless Looting, Reanimate, then Daze is live, so my opponent can't Thoughtseize me. Just imagine my opponent Thoughtseizes me here first. I just might lose, right? But yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. Let's get on to the next one. All right, round 3, playing against Magic Dats, and this is a player that, let me just look this up. Magic Dats, annoying numbers though, so it's tough to find on Google. Yeah, this has Mono Reanimator written all over it. But those decks also play, normal Magic cards, etc. So how to play Magic here? Tough call. I could see anything from run out the Spellbomb to play Tameo. I could see fetching Island. Probably not going to do that, though. Okay, I'm going to fetch Underground Sea and get the Nile Spellbomb into play to basically be Thoughtseize proof. I don't like that variance. Playing Nile Spellbomb against a opponent with tons of Reanimator tournament finishes on Goldfish is reasonable, but yeah, the thing about this hand is it kind of needs a land to be competitive in a normal game of, Frog Days, you name it. So let's see. Also, I should have checked for the version. Okay, it looks like my opponent's on the aggressive version like we just played against. So, okay, that does make the Nile Spellbomb better. Let's see. Thoughtseize, and okay, so at least we're not that washed. We know what we're doing here. That's kind of cool. Also, with no grief, there aren't that many affordable cards to cast out of that deck. So, Nile Spellbomb should buy me a lot of time. Oh, my opponent wants to get another Goyf. That's amazing. Well, that can't be right. Sure. Okay. So I guess we take that. Worth noting is my opponent's Nethergoyf is bigger than mine. That being said, I wonder which one I should play out. What happens if I just fatal push it? I think I have some time here, so maybe running out Tameo is going to be good for the long term. Theoretically, I could take like, I don't know, 5 hits from another Goyf and not care a lot. The opponent is buying a lot of time here. I need to find my second land. Another Goyf getting in there. Nothing more is happening on the side of the opponent. There's the land I was talking about. Very, very good draw. So, attack with Tameo. Play Nethergoyf. Pass. Sounds good to me. So now my opponent is in a spot where, sure, they can attack, but then I can eat the yard. And maybe they actually want to bait that, so I'm actually just going to take the damage here. Also worth noting that Reanimate hurt my opponent a tiny bit here alongside the Thoughtseize, so the race is not that hopeless. Pushing end of turn here seems reasonable. Spend my mana. Goyf hits the yard. I now have a 3/4. Miles Spellbomb is a good one. It is a... sorry. Haunter is a good one. It is a sorcery, so not bad. Do I feel like all I need to do now is attack with these boys? Then I can go another Nethergoyf this turn. Maybe that's not terrible. What's the alternative? Alternatively, I go draw the Wasteland, play it, sacrifice the Clue to flip Tamiyo, which will then... I'm trying to... So, I'm not going to lose to my own Nethergoyf. That's for sure. But I lose if my opponent is able to put a fatty in the yard, reanimate, I Spellbomb, and then does it again before the game is over, which is a weird situation, but it's, you know, possible. Yeah, I think playing another 4/5 definitely helps that. So, Nethergoyf. Attack. Now I put my opponent to 12. Yeah, I basically force my opponent to have like double Entomb or double Looting with double Reanimate, and it can't be the actual card Reanimate, I hope, when it comes to the life total. So I think this is a good play. There's Bloodstained Mire, so now my opponent's Faithless Looting is here. So theoretically, Faithless Looting can put no, that doesn't work. Well, it does, but it's not good. If I had Surgical Extraction, putting 2 in the yard is actually useful. For now, it's not useful. So let's see. Here comes the Thoughtseize. When it goes to 9. Did my opponent just lose the game for no reason? Well, I guess they just go for info before losing. So my opponent's at 9. And I can crack my Spellbomb to put Artifact in the yard. So I have 10 damage coming in. The opponent got a little bit of info here. We play against fast Black-Red Reanimator, which is very scary when on the draw. Basically, I need one of the 6 forces. And because Grafdigger's Cage is crossover hate between Blue-Black Reanimator and Nadu, it's not going to be as fast as, let's say, a Surgical. So maybe I've now grown into a big boy who can cut all the Wastelands in a matchup like this. What about the pushes? I think what I did last time was like ended up happening after I saw the Sheoldred, rather. I had 2 pushes in my deck. Maybe that's bad before I see that plan. Especially being on the draw. Maybe being on the draw and, you know, the double force hands, I want those to be better. I go for the blue cards here. Not ideal. Not ideal. No pushes. Still have a couple of shoot the sheriffs. Oh, tough call. I'll try this. Double Consign to Memory before I've seen my opponent's plan B, and then go to the 2 pushes if I see it. Okay. I mean, I have double force and some bad creatures. Let's see. My opponent goes Faithless Looting. I will negate it to get rid of this flashback card for good. Don't care too much about the Brazen Borrower. If I draw, I don't know, an additional Tamiyo, cleaning out Tamiyo is fine. But at the moment, I don't care about that card either. So let's see. The cool thing is my opponent will keep any hand. Wow, what a draw. My opponent will keep any hand that has land Faithless Looting, so it doesn't really tell me all that much. Now my opponent basically needs to have a show and tell plan for this to get disrupted. Let's see, I draw Psychic Frog, I play a 1/2, quite embarrassing. Let's see if I can find even just like, you know, fetch, bobble, ponder, everything will make the Nethergoyf bigger. Now my opponent needs to kill an artifact, get through the force, which can be quite bad. Yeah, pretty tough situation for the opponent here. I'm kind of excited to see how they draw out of it. So funnily enough, I think having double force is better than playing out Tamiyo. Oh, I should have played Nethergoyf. I was too fast. Okay, so good player plays out Nethergoyf there, holds double force, and I pass the turn. My opponent will now go to cleanup, which doesn't really help unless the opponent gets rid of the cage, so Archon hits the yard. There's, yeah, maybe a little bit of snowballing going on here, so I will keep the double force. I will attack here, and I will surveil before damage. It looks like we lost out on 2 or 3 damage, which is not very smart. Maybe this is a game where we have room for mistakes like that. I'm actually not sure. Undersea to sewers. Let's see if we can grow the Goyf. Do we want to draw another land? If I draw another land, I have Hardcast Negation up. Probably better to dig for something that ices the game. Okay, so missed out on 2 damage. Let's see if that ends up hurting me. What could possibly go wrong against the Thoughtseize Reanimate deck? Here's Swamp. The opponent does not want to go to cleanup once more. I mean, these guys are serviceable at what they do. They're not perfect. They're serviceable. Orcish Bowmasters basically raise the alarm at this point, but it will reduce the opponent's life total. Let's see. 8 cards. Land. Pass. Now it's going to be closing time for the opponent. Bowmasters. Black. So I can cast it, you know. 11. What can we draw? Bauble. Spellbomb. Force. Daze. Maybe my opponent has a Bowmaster. I don't think I care about that. Let's see. Let it strand the draw. Definitely play it. Let's put our opponent to 5. I don't have any more surveillors, so can't spike anything here. Ask for double force. It's your move. 2-3 Nethergoyf. It's like playing Kurdabe in Legacy, which is quite funny. I expect my opponent to just be dead to the cage, to be honest. But let's see. Yeah, Grafdigger's Cage got the job done. It's like that kind of hard hate. If you get the time, that kind of hard hate is really, really powerful. And obviously, I had a hand with double force, and then I drew the cage. So, pretty awesome working conditions here. Yeah, I think that does it for today's video. This deck is basically, you know, you're not losing to anything in particular, you're not crushing anything in particular, but you just have solid game across the field. The opponent doesn't know if they're playing against a tempo deck with Goyf or like a control deck with, you know, Tamiyos, Bowmasters, and Murktide Regent at the end of the rainbow, and then out of the sideboard, you know, haymakers for non-basics, haymakers for creatures, haymakers for the graveyard, haymakers for, well, not really haymakers, but just efficient stuff against colorless stuff. This deck is just very well-rounded. So if you trust your ability to, you know, reassess what does this hand do? What's my sequence here? What should I do with this Ponder? When should I hold up this Bowmaster? When should I protect my Frog? Like, if you can do all those small decisions, this deck is just a great choice for Legacy, and that's probably not going to change. Maybe we see some small stuff like Nethergoyf falling out of favor for the deck trying to be, you know, more of a control deck, or the removal suite changes because of whatever card starts seeing play, and yeah, like the small stuff, you know? But yeah, that does it for this video. I highly enjoy playing Legacy, and I'm going to do it much, much more, so definitely don't be a stranger, and thanks so much for watching.